You are listening to the Prosper Law Podcast. Learn how to reduce stress, have more time, and make more money. Come on in.
I'm Greg McCollum, and I built a 7-figure criminal defense law firm. I formed Prosper Law to show criminal defense law firm owners who are desperate for success how to grow from under $200,000 to $1 million and beyond. Hi, Greg McCollum here with another edition of the Prosper Law Podcast. Today's topic, the thing I want to go through with you and talk about is how well do you treat your employees? How well do you treat your team members? And I've heard successful business owners talk about this. How do you treat your people? How do you treat your team members? And I've heard very successful people talk about two different versions of it. On the one hand, people talk about, the customer comes first. We do everything for the customer. We want our clients to be treated as well as they can be treated, and so we demand excellence, and we demand and require the people on our team, our employees, our staff, people that work for us to go over and beyond taking care of the customer. And I think that the client experience is extremely important. The other way that I hear successful people talk about this, and over the years I've gone back and forth on this, is other people that are successful, other people that are hyper successful, talk about they take care of their people. They treat the people that work for them in the best way possible. They do everything they can for those people to make sure the people are taken care of, to make sure they get enough time off. If something goes wrong in their life, they have a family emergency, they give them the guilt-free time and space to go take care of that. Maybe they give out awards and things where somebody wins a trip or gets a concert tickets or something like that. And they're always trying to reward those people, take care of those people, nurture those people, and be grateful for their contribution to their law firm or their business. So which one is right? Is one right and is one wrong? I think over time, where I've gone or gotten to is take care of my people, nurture my people, and make sure that they are cared for and they know they're appreciated, and they know that if they need something or something goes wrong and they need time off, they have a family emergency or something like that, I'm not going to, dock their pay. I'm not going to give them paid leave. I'm not going to fire them. And where I think the truth in this is that, and the last episode, if you're listening to this, the last episode I talked about A players versus C players. And I think, and this is an evolving concept for me. And I think that how do you treat your people comes down to who are your people. And you want to treat people equally. You don't want to show favorites necessarily. And so if you have a bunch of C players or D players, and this person gets this person gets everything they want, and the other people don't, and they grumble and complain, I think that's more of a function of who's on your team and who's working for you. I think if you get a firm with a lot of A players and B players, that it naturally evolves and you do take care of them. Now, the reason that you take care of them, and the reason that I've done this more and more, and I'll give you some kind of extreme examples, is because of who these people are and what they do for me. So really it's self-interest. If I'm overly generous, if I tolerate something for a long period of time, it's really because I'm interested in the firm that I own. I'm self-interested because I don't want to lose that person, and I know that person is going through something. And the situation that I believe that arises is that when you're overly generous with the wrong people, with the wrong team members, the wrong staff, the wrong people, lawyers, staff, it could be anybody. It could be, the person who answers the phone. It could be your intake specialist. It could be your paralegals. It could be anybody in the firm. If they are underachieving C players, the more you give them, I would say probably the worse it gets, because then they have a level of expectation, and everything that they receive from you, they want it, and they want it again, and so you kind of spiral down. And for me, I know you're supposed to hire slowly, take your time hiring somebody. It's like getting married or something. So you want to hire slowly and fire quickly. When you think you should fire somebody, it's probably past time to fire them. And I have fired so many people I can't even remember them. I know that when I look through old photos or stuff that we shot for the office, and sometimes in a group picture, I see somebody and I go, oh yeah, I remember her, sort of. So in trying to build this law firm, trying to create a multi-7-figure criminal defense law firm, I've been through so many people that came and went. A lot of them left on their own. It didn't work for them. It wasn't a good fit, and so they moved on. A lot of people that work for the complete legal defense team that quit and went to work somewhere else. I always hear from other people that know them, or they're still in contact with them. They have a conversation. Most of them want to come back. Most of them will want to come back and work for the complete legal defense team. People that I've fired usually are not angry about it or upset about it, and I do it in such a way that it's just direct and straightforward, and I try to have people retain their dignity to some degree, and I don't drag it out. There's a certain way to terminate people, but that's another topic. But any time that I do that, I'm usually overly generous. A successful lawyer I know, a friend of mine I speak to every week, he says, "Well, you had to do that for you. You had to give that person severance package. You did that for you, Greg, because that made you feel better. So that's fine. You made the decision. They have the severance package, and now they're gone, and you did the right thing." And the opposite of that is that just recently I had a staff member, a paralegal, someone who is an A player. I'm so happy that we have her. And we got a couple of A players, and they work well together, and we're back growing the way I wanted us to grow, something that we struggled with for some time because the C players were that won't work. We can't do that. This is never going to work. That's crazy. We'll never hit that goal. No one could do that. So this particular person, I remember when she applied for the job, My COO at the time liked her. I liked her. She was bilingual, which was fantastic, and it has been fantastic because I met lawyers and marketers and people who say, you should build a Spanish speaking practice or a Spanish speaking side of your law firm. And we never did that. We never had one person in the building that could speak Spanish, and we didn't market to Spanish speakers. But we had a fair number of those clients, and now that since she's come in and she's well known in the community, the Spanish speaking community, I've noticed that business has grown, and we're getting more and more. We made some changes. If you go to the website, you can just click a button and it goes from English to Spanish and back. Now, we'll do some marketing specifically targeted to the Spanish-speaking clients because I really like them. They're really, the people that I've dealt with have a set of values and responsibility that really stands out, and I think there's several reasons for that. But in her situation, recently, her father became seriously ill as a result of just a kind of a standard operation in Mexico. So he goes in for medical treatment. Everything goes bad. He's literally in a hospital in Mexico, in the town that she's from. He's dying. And so she asked for some time off. She traveled there, and she stayed there, for a week or so. Then she came back, and then she needed to go back. And this went on back and forth. And so I know because her husband has a good job and they have children and she works for me, that with both of them trying to literally make sure that they could save her father's life, that her husband wasn't working because he worked for a big company and he made a good income, but they're not going to pay him to not work. So usually what I do in this situation is I say, okay, well, I meet with my office manager. How much vacation time does she have? Let's just start using her vacation time. And when we use that up, then we'll figure out what to do. And what I ended up doing is she used up all her vacation time, and she was literally, I don't know how long it was. I could look it up. It seemed like forever. But she was literally, in another country, not really working for us because she was doing like the thing that a home health care nurse would do, where he needed treatment and things done, every hour. It was a 12-hour shift basically, and then she had someone else helping her. So she's doing that. So she's not really able to work. And she says she'll work from home, but I've had other experiences with people. I said, well, I don't think that's a good fit. I got feedback from some of my other A players and team members, and they said, no, we don't think it's a good idea because of the communication and those things. We feel more comfortable just keeping it all in the office. Now they weren't resentful that she was gone. They were going to pick it up because they're A players until she got back, because they knew she's an A player, so they're going to pick it up until she gets back. Okay. And so in that situation, I remember talking to my office manager about the idea of whether or not we should basically, what I was thinking is, what should we do? Should we have her work from home or not? And she says, well, it's just not working, Greg. I don't think we should do that. I think we should stop. And I thought she was saying to me, we should stop paying her and put her on unpaid leave, which I've done that a number of times. But what she was saying is, no, just keep paying her. So we literally paid her, after she ran out of all her vacation time, we literally paid her to not work probably for at least 7 weeks. So she's now we're going in the hole, okay? Because A C player or a D player who creates that debt in the law firm, they know that they don't have any more vacation time. They may not even be able to, go on vacation and take the kids to Disney World because this happened, and they've already been paid for everything. So a C or D player, what they're going to do when that ends is they're going to look at it and go, I got paid for not working. Somehow I have to kind of make this up over time. I may not have any vacation time for a couple of years, perhaps, if that's the way it works out with the way your time off policies work. A C player will quit and literally leave you kind of left holding the bag. A D player will quit. They're not staying because now they've gotten something that they don't want to have to deal with or earn back. Now, an A player is just the opposite. This person is, they know what you've done for them. They know what you did for them, and they know what you tolerated for them. And this particular person, when we hired her, I remember my COO says, well, she's not demanding as much pay as other people, and so we only have to pay her this much, and so I think that'll be good because look how much money we're going to be saving. In other words, the people that we replaced who were not good at it were C's basically, and she seems pretty good, but you never really know till you start working with them. She's a discount. She's a deal. She's good. So a COO who has a kind of a scarcity mindset, wants to save a nickel wherever. And I understand that. So we bring her in and she's working and she's very happy and she likes her job and she likes what she's doing. She likes criminal defense. She wants to do it. She believes in that mission and she's so helpful to people and she's so glad to help people because she's compassionate for people, she's empathetic, she's not judgmental, all of the things that I'm looking for. So she likes what she does. So I find out through somebody else, I cannot remember, that she's been offered a job. I think my COO told me, I don't know how she knew. So she's been offered a government job with government benefits that is a lot closer to where she lives. So her commute would go way down. She would have, I think it was probably about a 20% raise over what we were paying her. And she get all those, she get the retirement plan, she get the health insurance, she get everything that the government, pays for this county government position. So what she did that I found out is that she turned down the position. She turned down what would most people consider, a great job, a better job, an easier job, a less stressful job, a job that's less demanding to work in this division in county government. And she turned it down. And then I found out that she turned it down. So I brought her in, I met with her, and I told her, I said, listen, I really appreciate that. And I'm glad you stayed. I'm glad you're happy here. I'm really happy that you're here. And I think I asked her, how much more were you going to make in that position? And I think it was 20%, 17%, something like that. And I said, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to raise your salary to that because she's worth it. And she wants to work for our complete legal defense team, and she's on board with the mission, and she's an A player. And I finally got to the point where I can recognize that, and I've gotten to the point where I'm not operating from a mindset of scarcity. I'm operating more in a mindset of abundance, and she is what our law firm needs. She's what I need, and if we're really going to take off, we need her and people like her. So I did something that I never would have done, and I've had this situation happen with other people. I had it happen with a C player, and she had the same kind of issues. It wasn't in another country, but this person is having a health crisis, and she couldn't come to work, and she had to do this, and so we were using her vacation time, and then it wasn't ending, and then she had some health problems later, and so I didn't want to fire her. I remember talking to her one time because she had this old car that didn't run properly, and so she was always having to get the shade tree kind of mechanic to fix it. And I was talking to her, and I said, "Well, why don't you just go here or there? You can always buy a car." And she went and she was going to get the car, but she was terrified of buying the car because she was terrified of taking on the debt because she was terrified that she would lose her job. When she missed work, and every time she came back in, she would ask the office manager, "Am I going to be fired? Am I going to be fired?" Now, inherently, she probably knew that she was a C underperforming employee, that we really shouldn't be tolerating this. And so she probably knew deep down that she should be fired. And people had told me to fire her literally for years. And I said, no, she's been here the longest. She knows what she's doing. I don't know where I'd be without her. I have loyalty to her. So I kept her, and I kept her, and I kept her, and I kept her. And then at some point, it seemed like she was just kind of coming apart. I don't know what kind of personal issues she had going on. I think some of the things that she said to us, were red flags because they couldn't have been true. The things she said, like a family member was almost dying and had to be rushed to the hospital. And then later we found out that he was basically treated and released, and she didn't come back to work. So what is that? So you can treat your people well, and other people could have different opinions on this. And I'm not declaring that I know all the answers for this. And it's always a situation where you're trying to find the truth. You're trying to find the sweet spot. You're trying to do what's right for people, what's fair to people, and what will grow your business and enhance your business so you can better serve your mission. And so with her, finally, I just had enough. It was 10th time I probably should have fired her. But for me, here I got this woman that was afraid to buy a car that just worked, not a nice car, just a car that worked, because the car payment was going to be a little higher or a lot higher. And she was terrified that she would lose her job and the car would get repossessed. And so now she's got all these other problems, and I'm going to fire her, a week before Christmas, I think it was. And really, there was no reason not to fire her because she wasn't working anyway. And she would say she worked from home, but she didn't. And so we didn't know really what she was doing. So anyway, so what do? At this point, somehow she still has 2 weeks vacation pay, which is impossible. There's no way she had 2 weeks of vacation pay, but my numbers and records aren't accurate, which is probably because I had a D employee that was keeping up with that. And so they probably just didn't charge off her vacations because they were always intentionally saving it and packing it in there and probably covering and doing it for each other. So she's got 2 weeks of vacation pay. So I'm going to pay her all her vacation pay, and I'm going to pay her 4 weeks severance pay on top of that, because to assuage my guilt and my conscience, I'm thinking, well, it's bad enough that I'm firing her after she bought the newer car in reliance on me. So I'm going to give her basically 6 weeks paid at the end. And I gave her that severance package. It's not the wrong thing to do. Would I do it again? I'd probably give 2 weeks. I'd probably say, you've got 2 weeks vacation time, which there's no way you could possibly have that. That's a record-keeping error. So I just won't argue with you on the 2 weeks vacation pay, and I'll give you 1 or 2 weeks severance pay. That would have been fair. That would have been more than fair. But the point of this is that if you decide, and if you go to seminars and you read books and you listen to podcasts, and you have these hyper-successful people, and these successful people telling you that you need to treat your people well, you need to take care of your people, what they're not saying, or I haven't heard them say it at the time, is if they are A and B players. If you have A and B players, yes, that works. If you do it with C's and D's and F's, then you're just being taken advantage of. You're being played, you're being manipulated. They don't have your best interests in mind. They're sucking what they can out of the business and out of you. They really care about you. They don't really care about the business. They don't really care about your job. So when I hear the super successful people talk about take care of your people, take care of your staff, do everything for these people because these people are taking care of your customers and your clients, the part they're leaving out is that if you have A and B players do this. Now, if I talked to one of these people that said this, I would probably say, well, it should have come with a caveat, because if you have somebody with a team full of C and D players and they do what you said, it's not going to work. It's just going to be bad for the business. It's going to drain money out of the business, and it's going to end in disaster. So why would you say that? I suspect what they would say is that, well, you listen to the other thing I said, which was get rid of your C's. And they would probably say, I think, that yes, take care of your people, because I already told you, business owner, to get rid of your C's. And I think that's probably why they say it, why they don't put the caveat in there, because they've already been preaching to you, they've already been teaching you, they've already been telling you, you got to get these C's and D's out of here. Mostly they don't talk about D's, but you got to get these C's out of there. So I think that's the answer. Take care of your people, do what you can, stretch it, because you look at, if you run a business, you look at the payroll, and this is a big number. Our payroll comes out every 2 weeks, and it's a big number. So you're always looking at paying the bills, staying solvent, growing, buying your advertising, paying for your marketing. And so then you look at that and you think, all right, how much do I have to give? How much can I give? But the A players are going to do 2 jobs. An A player is going to have the productivity level of 2 people. B players are going to have a good productivity level. C players are going to be doing, the halfway mark. So the good people that you take care of, that you appreciate and they appreciate you, that's what this is about. When I say take care of your people, treat your people right, be generous with your people in certain circumstances, because these things always happen with people. You can't go through life without some tragedies. You can't go through life and never miss work. If those people are good people and they're good family members and they're good parents and they're good spouses, then they are going to do in their family life and sometimes in their just personal social life what they do in your law firm. So if you have those people, my advice is take care of them, treat them well, help them get through these tragedies, but also be discreet in how you do it and who you do it with, because you have to know when you make the decision to do it, is this person an A player, a B player, a C player, or something worse? If they're A players, you take care of them, I think you'll benefit from it. So something to think about, something to examine, something to become aware of. But I think that done right, you want to take care of your people. If you want to know more, go to prosperitlaw.com. We show criminal defense law firm owners how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. Thanks for listening.